What is up, guys? Welcome to a brand new video, and on this episode, well guys, guess what? Today's episode is gonna be kinda controversial and it might piss some of you off, but this is the truth that I gotta tell all of you. Now, with PC component pricing going up really high, like really high, a PC with the Ryzen 3 3200G costs around 30,000 rupees if you're in India, which really makes me ask that question, the very uncomfortable question: is it worth buying a PC like that right now? Like, really, should you spend $360 to get an entry-level PC right now, or is it just better for you to buy an iPad? Because iPads are killer in value. Like, this iPad right here is an iPad 10th gen, and it costs 29,000 rupees if you're in India. Now remember, this is very important. This used to be a 20,000 rupee PC versus a 28,000 rupee iPad. Now this is a 28,000 rupee iPad versus a 30,000 rupee PC. When I ask you the question, should you just get an iPad instead of PC, you're gonna think of a lot of things like, can you edit video on this? Can you do multitasking on this? Can you do your regular everyday home stuff with it? Can you play games on it? We're gonna do all those things on both of the devices, and I'll definitively tell you if it's just worth getting an iPad or should you still stick to PC. So come with me and we'll find out together. A streaming showdown. I'm not sure if you know, but in this part of the world, Pubg and FreeFire are two very popular games that people love to live stream. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna set up both these games on the PC and on the iPad, and we're gonna stream it. So on the PC side, what we did is we set up OBS and we set up display capture, and then we ran FreeFire using Google Play Games. So we ran Google Play Games, we've installed FreeFire, and we set up OBS, and then this was streamed directly to YouTube. And we used a LAN for maximum internet upload and download speeds just to make sure that the internet is stable. So we plugged our LAN cable in, we started the stream, and then we started playing FreeFire. And as you can see, when we're playing FreeFire, at least on the gaming end, it's okay, it's passable. You get somewhere between 30 to 40 FPS, and gaming was kind of smooth for the most part. But this whole thing changes when you go to stream. Because remember, we are streaming with the Ryzen 3 3200G, which means the bigger graphics is responsible for the entire video part of the stream, and the CPU is also responsible for encoding the stream, which puts a lot of pressure on the CPU. And because of all this pressure on the CPU, the stream was absolutely abysmal. It was bad. Like, you would see the stream for like 2 seconds and it would stop, and then it resumes after like 10 seconds again. It was this constant jittery, unoptimized stream because the 3200G was struggling to play the game and encode video, which is one of the biggest drawbacks of these processors. You cannot game and stream on the 3200G. Now we're going to shift gears and go to the iPad side. So remember, we're on an iPad 10th generation and we are running Pubg Mobile on it. So we installed Pubg Mobile on it and we're going to stream it. Now, once again, we're streaming to YouTube, and for the iPad, we're not using any extra LAN or stuff like that. We're just going to rely purely on Wi-Fi. So if you look at it, I'm playing Pubg on it and it is actually really smooth. And I'm live streaming it from the iPad using Streamlabs OBS, which is like another version of OBS, more feature rich, but kind of unoptimized if you ask me, version of OBS. And it was live on YouTube, and as you can see, this is a 720p stream and it's really smooth. Like, there's no choppiness like on the 3200G. I can absolutely play, and you can see me walking around, you can see me running, jumping, getting kills against bots, I guess, because my gaming skills are really bad. But on top of that, but the game is really smooth and the stream is really smooth, which is a huge advantage. When you consider comparing this to the 3200G, the stream was actually super smooth, super usable. So if you did want to take this content and clip it or use it for your YouTube channel or for shorts, you can do that purely because of how well the iPad is optimized. The only tiny place where the PC is a little bit more easier is the whole process of setting up like OBS. In PC, you get more options to set up OBS, but the hardware, the 3200G, does not cut it. So even though it might be a little bit easier to set up the stream on the PC, the performance is just completely overtaken by the iPad, and the iPad scores all the points when it comes to live streaming games. The iPad just clearly takes the W, where it is much more superior than the 3200G when it comes to game streaming performance. Okay, now, so based on all of this, I'm gonna give the iPad for streaming, I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5. And the PC, unfortunately, gets a 1 out of 5. Next up is video editing. Now this is a category that I'm super passionate about because we love making videos here. So what we did was we ran DaVinci Resolve on the computer and on the iPad. And we want to see how well these devices were going to handle Resolve. So to test this, we had a project like a PC build shoot that we did. We imported that into Resolve. All the clips were cut. We did a few cuts here and there, a little bit of transitions, and we exported the footage. So the whole video was around 7.5 minutes, okay? And so first we exported this video on the PC, and guess how much time it took? It took 4.5 minutes to render out that entire video on Resolve on the PC. Not bad, right? It's not bad. But then we did this on the iPad, and this is when we were blown away, because same project on the iPad. We used an external drive, we plugged it onto the iPad, we imported the footage, and we exported the clip, and it took 1.5 minutes. The iPad was 3 minutes faster than the PC. This Apple chip on this is just amazing at what it does. So 3 minutes faster than the PC. I was like, oh my God, that is fantastic. And the weird part is a lot of people don't know about it. You get the entire DaVinci Resolve suite on the iPad. It is free. And it is an extremely powerful editing tool. So if you're on the move and you want to edit, you can literally just plug your camera into this, like you're plugging in your PC, read the components, plug your external SSD, or plug your SD card with an adapter. Anything with a Type-C, this thing takes it, okay? And then you can just copy files onto your Resolve timeline and you can edit it. And the fact that this was 3 minutes faster to render that video than the PC was just mind-blowing to me. So yeah, so when it comes to video editing, the iPad easily scores a 4 out of 5 because for how cheap it is and how effective this is, I think it deserves a 4. And the PC gets a 2 out of 5 because I feel like the PC could have done better. But yeah, 2 out of 5 on the PC, 4 out of 5 for the iPad when it comes to video editing. Okay, next we're going to talk about designing. And now if we're talking purely about designing, like if you're a digital artist, then the iPad will just run away with the W because Procreate is one of the best apps out there. You can make beautiful artworks with it. If you're a digital artist, I would always say get an iPad, an Apple Pencil. It is unbeatable. It beats every Android tablet out there. It beats every digital drawing tablet out there. This is the best to-go solution if you are a digital artist. But today this is a comparison video. So we're going to talk about Photoshop. How well does Photoshop run on the iPad versus the PC? So we try to edit a picture of Messi with the font behind him, a font overlapping in front of him, and some gradient, stuff like that. We try to do this on the iPad as well as the PC. And now let me tell you one thing. This could be because I'm used to shortcuts. Working on the PC felt faster because making layers, moving things around, it was just faster on the PC compared to the iPad. Not because the iPad was slower. It's just from a usability standpoint, things were just easier for me on PC. Maybe because I know the shortcuts, it was just quicker. I could easily move things about, get it done. Now, when I tried the same thing on the iPad, it was okay, but I don't feel like the iPad version of Photoshop is that well optimized as the PC. It just took more steps, like a little bit, not too much, but a little bit more steps. So if you are a creative professional who wants to use Photoshop, at least for now, PC is a little bit more optimized, or a computer, like a full-fledged computer is a bit more, like our 3200G PC feels like just a little bit more optimized for Photoshop than the iPad. But if you are a digital creator and you want to use Procreate, and if you want to draw, the iPad is unfreaking matched. But this is a comparison video, and we're comparing Photoshop between the PC and the iPad. So I would give the PC, because of its 8 gigs of RAM, I'm going to give it 3 out of 5, and the iPad gets a 2.5 out of 5, purely because it's Photoshop. Now let's talk about gaming and how effective it is when you compare it with a budget PC and an iPad. Now this is a segment which is a bit weird, and I'll tell you why it's weird. Well, natively, the iPad has a massive library of games on the Apple App Store. Problem is, they are not native PC games. So if you want to play native PC games on the iPad, you have to do something like using Xbox Cloud subscription. Yes, it is a monthly payment system, and you pay around $5.99 if you're in India, and then you get access to like 200 plus games from the cloud. So when we played games on the PC with the Ryzen 3 3200G, we got like 30 FPS for some games when the settings were set to medium and the resolution was set to 900p or set to 720p. For Forza 5, we had to set it to 720p, and we could get playable frame rates. Now the biggest problem is because of RAM shortages, we could only put in 8 gigs of RAM, and it already crossed 30,000 Indian rupees. And still, that you got a very low spec PC which is not really fit for gaming. Yes, you can even run Xbox Cloud on the PC, but natively when we ran those games, we got around 30 to 40 FPS for nearly every game. And that is not a very smooth playable experience, because in some games there were massive dips down to 10 to 15 FPS. So I would not really call that playable. It was acceptable, but if you're on a shoestring budget, it is something you can do. do. The good part about Windows is there's a very huge developer community which will let you optimize game for weak hardware. So if you are on a tight budget and you don't want to pay subscription fees, you can always just like get games on Windows and keep them and play them as long as you want, provided you have to tweak settings or sometimes turn settings really low, which can make the game look really bad. Now, when it comes to the iPad, we ran games on this using the Xbox Cloud service, and games were really smooth. We ran GTA 5, we ran Assassin's Creed, and there are a lot more games on this. The only thing is you need a controller to play these games, but the games were really, really smooth. Now, I know this is not a direct comparison. The number of games that the PC and the iPad shares in common are not much, so there's very little games you can compare like that. But if you run games like Genshin Impact, it runs better on the iPad because that's a super budget PC. But if you're running Xbox Cloud, and if you're okay with Xbox Cloud and you have a good internet, you can easily run more than 200 to 300 games on this iPad easily, and it doesn't even take storage because everything's coming from the cloud. So I know this is not a direct comparison, but if you're okay with cloud, I want to stress on that. If you're okay with going cloud, you get a much better gaming performance on the iPad. But because it's cloud-based, I am not going to give the iPad a whole point. For gaming, I'm going to give the PC probably 2 out of 5, and I will give the iPad 3 out of 5 because it's not native performance. This is all cloud-based performance. So our next and final category is day-to-day usage. How useful are these devices on a daily basis? And by day-to-day usage, I mean the kind of home stuff you do, like web browsing, YouTube, just daily people tasks. So with the PC, you know it's a PC. It's going to do PC things. The PC is like super smooth. If you want to browse the internet, you want to watch YouTube videos, you want to make spreadsheets or Excel sheets or whatever, you want to edit some Word documents, the PC will do those stuff flawlessly. Even with Windows 11 being a hub of bloatware, Microsoft has done things to clean it up. And because of Windows PC, you get all your ports, you get to plug stuff in, you get extra upgradability, you get to upgrade the storage if you want to, and you get to plug it into a printer and print, which is such a weird thing to say, but yeah, you can do all that stuff. When you talk about everyday usage, yeah, the PC does what it's supposed to do, and it does it really well. So there's no complaints there. Now, what really surprised me is when you come to the iPad side. Now, after iOS 26, Apple did something killer. They unlocked window usage for all iPads, and that was remarkable. Window usage literally turned this thing into a kind of Mac-like experience. You can open Windows easily now. You can run YouTube on one window, open a browser on the other window, open files on the other window, open your email on the other window, and your iPad will not lag. I'm not going to say it's flawless. It's not as well optimized as Windows or how Windows does it, because this was iPad first and they just bought this feature in. But for what it is now, it does a lot. You get the Type-C port, which means you can plug in drives to it. You can plug in an external USB drive. You can again plug in your printer. You can even plug in a camera. And if your camera supports streaming, you can directly stream to the iPad from your camera, use it as a viewfinder. It's very versatile like that. So comparing all those features, it is pretty awesome. But yeah, just one Type-C port, and this is a USB 2.0 port, not a 3.0 port. So it's not the fastest port, but it definitely supports all the hardware you can plug it in. So you can plug it in anything from a mic to a printer to an external device and work with it. So this is amazing. The value this thing gives for as cheap as it is cannot be ignored. The fact that you have an all-in-one device, you can just throw in your bag, just go and do everything, it's amazing. So everyday usage, Windows 4 out of 5, iPad 3.5 out of 5. All right guys, so our final results are in, and guess what? Our PC scored 12 points and the iPad scored 17 points. Can you believe that? Which definitely tells you that the iPad is a better value right now than getting a budget PC. Now, I did not make this video to throw shade at PCs and say, oh, PCs are bad, you just buy iPads. No. So this was not a PC that was costing you 30,000 rupees in the past, or more than $300 in the past, but now it is. You are paying this much for this little value right now because of how expensive RAM has gotten, how expensive SSDs have gotten, and basically the whole PC market has gone bonkers and everything is just super pricey. Which is why I made this video, to tell people when you can spend a lot less and get an iPad that just performs so much better. Like this thing can do video editing, this thing can do Photoshop, this thing can do your everyday task, and it can game and live stream better than the PC. So a lot of people were unaware of the fact that this was even a possibility, and I just had to tell you because it pains me. Now I run a company that sells PCs, but it pains me to see people pay so much for hardware when it's not really worth that much. Like Apple is one of the only companies right now that has not increased prices of RAM and SSDs by a mile like how PCs have. Now, from the information that we've gotten, they say PCs are going to get even more expensive, which means this thing could cost like $400 maybe, or 40,000 rupees, or maybe even 500. And at that point, I should say as a consumer, you should just stop. Don't buy into that hype and just stop overpaying for hardware, which is not worth it. Just buy something else like this. And when people stop buying overpriced hardware, when markets really see that people are not ready to spend that much money for weird hardware like that, prices will drop. Or I hope at least markets will wake up to some point and understand that, you know, it's pointless to overcharge customers because they're just not going to buy. Because as long as you keep buying and giving this industry your money, they're just going to up the prices, which is not a good move. So just buy the better option right now. I cannot believe we're making a video where we're saying, oh, look, Apple's cheaper and better. But yes, right now in this price category, when you're getting a super budget PC, Apple is cheaper and better, and we have showed you all the proof so you know. So on that note, guys, please be smart when you buy stuff right now, and we will continue to make you awesome videos like this, telling you about the industry and about pricing and about performance with accurate results like this. So if you love what we do here, make sure you follow us on Instagram. Our Instagram is GRigs Official. That's GRigs Overpaying. And if you love what we do here, if you're watching this video and if you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you want a high-end PC, a gaming rig, a workstation, or whatever that is, you can come to our website. We have a custom PC build section where you can submit your PC build requirements and we will help you with your PC build. And like always, we will see you in the next one with super high quality PC build and tech content. Until then, this is me saying, bring it baby, and peace.